Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at noon.
Next at noon, will a teen curfew finally get the green light from City Council? We're going to hear from council members.
New requirements for SNAP benefits, how city leaders are preparing for the change.
And taking a live look outside, looking gorgeous out there, much milder than it has been. Katie's going to let us know what we can expect. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sylvia Perez.
And I'm Natalie Bumpke, and we do start with some breaking news. Police and the FBI on the scene near a South suburban bank.
Sky Fox was over that scene near 119th and Western, outside a U.S. bank. Right now, we know law enforcement responded to the area for reported robbery. It's still unclear if anybody has been injured. We're going to keep you updated when we learn more about the circumstances, as this is a developing story. City Council taking up that teen curfew issue today in an effort to prevent mass gatherings of teenagers downtown.
Mayor Brandon Johnson vetoed the previous plan, you might recall. Roseanne is outside City Council with what is different now.
What has changed? Well, the new ordinance from Alderman Brian Hopkins would allow police to issue a temporary time and place curfew, but only after providing 12 hours notice, rather than the 30 minutes required in the original version. The idea behind the curfew is to prevent those mass teen gatherings that have led to violence, like the downtown shooting on the night of the Christmas tree lighting. One man was killed and several others shot. But the emergency curfew idea drew pushback from civil liberties groups and the mayor, who vetoed it, saying it wasn't needed. Alderman Rosanna Rodriguez called the measure disappointing.
I would really love it if this council committed to using the best evidence, using research, and using best practices. And it seems like we can never get there. It seems like we are always legislating on fear. The way to get kids out of the street is giving them meaningful things to do, is making sure that their needs are covered.
Chicago belongs to everyone, and being able to effectively and timely give notice that we're going to enforce curfew for youth gatherings that tend to get out of control is why we need to be able to pass this ordinance now and have it work in tandem with all of the millions that we spend on programs throughout the city of Chicago.
And while Mayor Brandon Johnson vetoed the previous curfew ordinance, he has not indicated whether or not he would veto this new version. At City Hall, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
And today, City Council could vote on a ban on hemp-derived products. That ban would stop the sale of hemp products containing compounds found in cannabis unless they are sold in licensed cannabis dispensaries. We'll have a live report from our political reporter, Paris Schutz, about this coming up at 12:30.
12:02, and we want to give you a live look outside. Love this angle, Sylvia.
Pretty, isn't it?
It's so pretty. And it's only going to get colder, so soak in the sunshine while you can, Caitlin.
It's a great day to be outside
I was going to say,
today.
it felt mild out there, right?
And you probably keep hearing the headline, very cold.
Yes.
And a little bit confusing. Okay, today is going to be the warmest of our 7-day forecast. So yes, we are elevated today into the 30s, but as soon as Friday, we're going to have actual highs below zero. Right now, it's quiet. You saw from that live shot. We've got sunshine in Chicago, Point South, Will County, portions of LaSalle County, Kankakee getting in on the sunshine. A little more cloudy as we get out to our far western areas. We have the potential for snow returning later today, but right now, it feels good. It looks good. We're sitting at 31 degrees at the lakefront, which is normal for this time of year. Low 30s. It's 28 at O'Hare currently, 26 in Waukegan. Temperatures in northwest Indiana ranging in the 30s. I do see almost 40 in Jasper, Newton counties, but 36 in Gary. Freezing from Morris to 30 at LaSalle. Here is your day planner. As I said, temperatures in the low 30s. Not too bad. Well, this evening, mostly cloudy skies are going to be here with temperatures in the upper 20s, and then tomorrow's high, only 22. We are going to have a high of 0, if not less than 0, to end the week. So brutally cold temperatures are on the way. And Thursday night into Friday morning, actually, from 3 a.m. until noon, we have the potential for wind chills that feel like temperature to be at 30 degrees below 0, if not colder. We'll take a look at your full 74 forecast, including this weekend's outlook, and I'll time out that next round of snow. Ahead, Natalie.
Thank you, Caitlin. New at this hour, we now know the name of the victim who was shot and killed at a car wash, 23-year-old Victor Soto. It happened in the Marshall Square neighborhood last night near the corner of Southwestern Avenue and West 23rd Street. Police say the suspect got out of an SUV and shot Soto while he was in the parking lot. No one is in custody. The trial of a man accused in a murder-for-hire plot targeting Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino is now underway. Opening statements began this morning. This is the first trial connected to Operation Midway Blitz. Prosecutors say Juan Espinoza Martinez sent out a bounty for Bovino. Martinez says, though he is not guilty, if convicted, he could face up to 10 years in prison.
A series of public hearings are getting underway in Chicago focused on human rights and immigration enforcement. The Human Rights Anti-Authoritarianism Reparatory and Restorative Act, also known as HART, is holding 2 days of testimony at McCormick Theological Seminary. Several leaders are expected to testify, including Mayor Johnson, Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul, and Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates. Organizers say the hearing will document harms that are linked to federal militarization and ICE raids, including family separation, detention, and community trauma.
Cook County and state leaders are warning about upcoming changes to SNAP benefits as new federal eligibility rules take effect next month. Today, local leaders and hunger relief groups gathered at Provident Hospital to address changes impacting people who receive SNAP benefits. Starting February 1st, adults without dependents will be required to work or volunteer at least 80 hours a month to keep those benefits or qualify for an exemption.
We know this is stressful. No one should lose access to food because the rules are confusing or because they didn't know where to turn.
No one in Cook County should have to choose between paying rent, buying medicine, or putting food on the table. That's not who we are, and it's not a future we're willing to accept.
Leaders also highlighted new food as medicine initiatives through Cook County Health designed to address food insecurity and improve health outcomes.
Chicago Public Schools extending the deadline for people interested in running for local school councils. The district says parents and students and community members now have until Tuesday, January 27th at 3 p.m. They can file their candidacy for the 2026 LSC elections. Local school councils play a key role in school decision-making, including approving budgets, setting academic priorities, and selecting principals. Elections are scheduled for March 18th. If you'd like more information, visit the CPS website.
Well, a decision has been made on a data center in Naperville.
Saquon is joining us now in the studio with more on what the city council decided.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Good afternoon, I should say. There has been a lot of back and forth in the last few months over this proposed data center, but ultimately, in a late night decision, the city council there voted to not move forward with that proposal. And we're also getting a reaction and a little more insight into how last night's city council meeting played out. Ian Holzhauer, one of the city council members who actually voted against that proposed data center, posted this on his Facebook page last night, and he said in part, after more than 5 months of review, hours of public testimony, and after every council member had spoken, a new proposal was introduced around 10 p.m. The mayor and the developer's attorney suggested delaying the vote to allow the developer more time to submit revised plans, despite the developer itself choosing last night as the date for this item to appear on the agenda. Now, he goes on to say, instead, a motion was made to table the agenda item, not because of new information from the community, but because the petitioner was not fully prepared on the date it selected. Holzhauer says that motion to delay failed, and shortly after, the city council struck down that proposed data center altogether. Now, that proposal, if approved, would have put the 200,000 square foot data center along Naperville and Warrenville roads with dozens of diesel generators. That area is pretty close to residential homes and nearby parks and playgrounds. And the people who live in that area say really location was their biggest concern, pointing to a risk of air pollution and louder noise.
We have presented 4 layers of supportive data. First, diesel exhaust is a known carcinogen. That is not debatable. Second, risk increases when diesel exhaust comes from stationary, concentrated sources, exactly what is proposed here.
So now residents are in a precarious position. Do we sell our home at a loss, or do we expose our families and children to a public health risk?
There have been countless meetings at City Hall, in resident homes, and in your offices. According to one council member, you have received a, quote, unprecedented amount of opposition correspondence.
Well, the developer has also released a statement following that decision saying, "We are disappointed by the outcome of the vote, which overturned the City Plan Commission's recommendation, and by the City Council's decision to not allow additional time for further studies to address concerns regarding our operations. Over the past year, we committed to investing hundreds of millions of dollars to develop a best-in-class facility at a site that has long served as an anchor of Naperville's technology and jobs corridor." Now, the City Council did say last night that the developer could file a lawsuit if this permit didn't get approved. They also said something else would still be built on the site of that proposed data center. We're still waiting to learn, of course, what that could be. We'll let you know, of course, once we learn more. Back to you guys.
Right. Thank you for that. More to come here on Fox 32 News at noon.
President Trump addresses world leaders at a major economic conference and doubles down on his desire to take control of Greenland. I'm Rebecca Castor with the details coming up.
New visa rules go into effect today for travelers from 75 countries who want to enter the U.S. Details on the new restrictions.
Prince Harry versus the paparazzi. He's taking the stand today in a trial against the Daily Mail.
Correct. Check.
What I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection.
President Trump in Switzerland today addressing world economic and political leaders at a pivotal time for transatlantic relations.
His push to acquire Greenland is rocking the NATO alliance, as Rebecca Castor reports. He faces an uphill battle in convincing U.S. allies to support his plan.
President Trump taking a cold, deep breath as he arrives in Switzerland to address world leaders at the annual World Economic Forum. He's there to promote his economic policies, but control of Greenland looms over the gathering, and the president is firm in his position.
I'm seeking immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States.
The president says Greenland is necessary to protect against potential missile attacks from U.S. adversaries. And he previously floated the idea of taking the island by force. but today said that's not something he'll do.
That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force.
Trump is threatening economic action if NATO allies don't sign off on the U.S. takeover, something many world leaders are strongly against.
Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic.
The president also took shots at other NATO members, questioning their loyalty and ability to defend the Arctic. But the head of the alliance says the group's priorities are aligned.
We have to protect the Arctic against Russian and Chinese influence. We are working on that, making sure that collectively we will defend the Arctic region.
President Trump says U.S. ownership of Greenland, not a lease agreement, is best for both U.S. and European security. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox Chicago.
Today, the State Department is freezing immigrant visa processing for dozens of countries. The list includes 75 total countries, including Somalia, Russia, Iran, Brazil, and Thailand. The freeze applies to immigrant visas for employment and for people trying to join family in the U.S. The move comes over concerns that immigrants may rely on public assistance. A legal expert joined Good Day Chicago to break down the rules already in place.
Immigrants generally aren't eligible for public benefits, and individuals who are coming on green cards through a petition filed by a relative, for example, the family member who's the U.S. citizen or green card holder petitioning has to sign a legally binding contract saying that if this individual, even if they were to get public benefits, that individual would have to reimburse the government for the cost of those benefits. So we already have stopgap measures in place to prevent abuse of benefits.
The freeze does not apply to student and tourist visas. And happening right now, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments in a case centered around President Trump's attempt to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. The White House accused Cook of mortgage fraud. She has not been charged. The Supreme Court will decide whether the president has the authority to remove her. We will keep you updated.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is joining President Trump's Board of Peace. The board, which is chaired by Trump, was originally meant to be a small group of world leaders overseeing the Gaza ceasefire plan. Well, the president has since extended invitations to dozens of nations. The UK, Russia, and European Union have yet to respond. On Capitol Hill, Democrats are launching an investigation into the sale of Venezuelan oil by the U.S. Those senators are looking into what role major banks will play in the deals. President Trump previously announced as many as 50 million barrels were handed over to the U.S. for sale. Lawmakers are asking bank executives if they have been asked to hold proceeds from the sales. They say they are looking for clarity on exactly where that money goes.
They're going to see a huge bump in their revenues from oil and hopefully help that country get back on its feet again.
It has been evident that it will take at least 3 years to rebuild the Venezuelan oil infrastructure. Are we going to retain that percentage of our fleet off the coast of Venezuela and maintain that blockade?
Senators are requesting answers from banks by the end of January, as well as monthly updates regarding their communication with the White House. As immigration crackdown ramps up in Minnesota, law enforcement leaders accuse ICE of targeting and racial profiling their very own officers.
In one incident, the Brooklyn Park police chief says an off-duty officer was stopped in her vehicle by ICE agents that demanded proof of citizenship. The chief claims ICE agents drew guns and knocked the female officer's phone out of her hands when she tried to record the incident. He says the agent backed off when the officer identified herself as a police officer.
This behavior erodes the trust that these police chiefs have worked tirelessly for the last 5 years and theoretically the last 60 years to stop this exact behavior from happening. This is not widespread. This is a small group of agents within the surge in the metro area that are performing or acting this way.
Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino says anything ICE agents are doing is legal, ethical, and moral.
Today, Prince Harry took the stand to testify in his own lawsuit against the publisher of the Daily Mail. He has long criticized that British tabloid coverage of his family and wife, Meghan Markle. Harry and 6 others, including Elton John and actor Elizabeth Hurley, allege the Daily Mail illegally gathered information from them for the last 2 decades. The company has denied the allegations.
All right, let's turn it back over to Caitlin Cody. We've got a live look outside for you. Some of those clouds look like they could contain precipitation. Caitlin. Look at you. What is going on out there?
We do have the chance for some snow later on today. Right now, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures are in the 20s and 30s, so we feel quite mild compared to what's to come. Right now, it's 31 degrees at the lakefront. Let's take a look at the map, though, because not all of us are in the low 30s. In fact, it's only 25 at Woodstock and 24 in DeKalb. Northwest Indiana, temperatures for you are ranging in the 30s. You are flirting with 40 there in Jasper, Newton counties, and I do see a 36 in Gary, freezing from Valpo to Michigan City. So the temperatures today, not bad, but we do have those clouds, and as I just mentioned, the potential for some snow later on. Talking about the feel-like temperature, though, right now it feels like we could be at 15 at O'Hare, so make sure you dress warm. Feeling like 16 in Aurora and 14 in DeKalb, 12 at Woodstock, Northwest Indiana, you feel like you could be in the low to mid-20s. Let's take a look at our future cast. When is this snow arriving? Well, as we work our way through this evening, around 4 to 5, some scattered snow moving in from the northwest. We are going to have that potential for snow into the early overnight before drier skies do return. Starting off tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., temperatures are around 10 to 15. And then in the afternoon, we're going to be in the 20s as our high tomorrow. But that's actually, again, mild compared to what's to come. Let me take you through Thursday night. 4:45, temperatures still in the low to mid-20s, dropping down to the teens by 9 p.m. And then Friday morning, 5:30, and the actual temperature around 5 degrees below zero. A range of 0 to 10 degrees below zero expected to start off your Friday. And that is why we do have the concern on Friday, especially the first half of the day, for how cold it's going to be. I do expect those wind chills to drop to about 30, if not 35 degrees below zero early Friday. Our futurecast, though, does show again that quick hitting snow this evening and then high pressure moving in. So tomorrow in the 20s, and again, it is going to get cold, but that bottoming out is really going to happen Thursday night into Friday. We'll take a look at your full forecast ahead.
Thank you, Caitlin. Coming up at noon, fashion and the fight against cancer.
A unique partnership that's boosting cancer research and treatment on the South Side.
Plus, taking the plunge as temperatures dip to dangerous levels. The doctor explains what can trigger frostbite.
Fear Factor is a
U Chicago Medicine is expanding access to cancer care on the South Side and in the Southland.
The health center is opening the Ralph Lauren Center, backed by a grant from the Ralph Lauren Corporate Foundation. This center will focus on prevention, treatment, and support services. The first location opens in Harvey later this year, with the second location planned for the South Side in 2027. Lurie Children's Hospital is pausing more gender-affirming care services. WBEZ reports the hospital has stopped filling prescriptions related to gender-affirming care for minors. Last year, the hospital ended gender-affirming surgeries for patients younger than 19. The Trump administration had referred the hospital to the Department of Health and Human Services.
When temperatures take a dive into the teens and single digits, it can be really uncomfortable to go outside. Obviously, it can also be downright dangerous. Your fingers, toes, nose, and ears are most at risk of frostbite when temperatures drop. It can happen in as little as 30 minutes, sometimes less. Doctors say this is because exposed body parts receive less blood flow. And when your skin gets numb and you can't feel the cold in your tissues, the damage is being done.
When the body is exposed to extreme cold, the blood recirculates towards the trunk and the inner organs, because those are the most important to keep warm, to keep oxygenated for life. So in order to stay alive, the body prefers sending the warm blood to the inner organs.
To prevent frostbite, avoid getting your skin wet outdoors, wear waterproof clothing, and of course, bundle up.
It is 12:26, and we'll be right back.
Patrick Dempsey in memory.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the top stories we're following for you this afternoon.
Police are investigating a reported bank robbery in the south suburbs. Sky Fox is over the scene near 119th and Western, outside a U.S. bank. It's unclear if anyone was hurt. We're going to keep you updated when we learn more about the circumstances.
Cook County and state leaders are warning about upcoming changes to SNAP benefits as new federal eligibility rules take effect next month. Beginning February 1st, adults without dependents will be required to work or volunteer at least 80 hours a month to keep those benefits or qualify for an exemption. The state is launching a dashboard for residents to keep track on updates regarding their benefits. For information, visit the Illinois Department of Human Services.
And right now, City Council meeting over a possible ban on the sale of hemp products here in Chicago.
Our political reporter Paris Schutz is live outside City Hall with the latest on this. Paris?
Yeah, Sylvia and Natalie, council about to debate a new ban citywide on hemp products. This after Congress just passed a law banning hemp-derived weed products like Delta 8 and Delta 9 across the country. But that law won't go into effect for another year. So if City Council passes this law, it'll give retailers 30 days to clear out their inventory of those Delta 8, Delta 9 cannabinoid products and get rid of them. They will be banned citywide, but there's a few exceptions here. One, if those products are sold in licensed cannabis dealers, so the cannabis retailers that went through all the hoops, paid all the money, got their licenses, they will be cleared. Also, hemp-derived beverages, there's a carve-out for them. Those will still be permissible under this new law. And representatives from the hemp beverage industry lobbied furiously, saying it's a lot of money at stake, a lot of jobs at stake. They're happy with this new compromise.
I'm here today to show my strong support for Alderman Quinn's hemp regulation ordinance. I'm deeply grateful to Alderman Quinn and the City Council for creating a pathway for responsible hemp beverage businesses like Plift and Perfectly Dosed to operate in Chicago while putting an end to the unsafe hemp products found across the city. This ordinance is a step forward for Chicago.
And I'm joined with one of the sponsors of the ordinance, 6th Ward Alderman William Hall. Alderman Hall, you've been supportive of hemp. You wanted to get some revenue from them that the city needs. Why this ban and why the carve-out for the drinks?
Well, what has changed, number one, is accessibility to the bad stuff. We see that more and more cases are beginning to come to the surface of children who have gotten bad weed. You see it at gas stations. You see it in places that have always been a problem. That's what we've always supported, is safety. Now we're looking at making sure that we do save the industry. There are thousands of jobs, new startups that will be lost if we are not only considerate of safety guidelines, but also people who've made sacrifices to participate in the industry.
Now, federally, we mentioned that everything is going to be banned. So how does this law work with that?
Well, I think that's one of the things that, some of my colleagues has mentioned is, do we wait on the big bill regulation, or do we take a big step today? And I think that that's the urgency that you see with parents, with colleagues of mine in City Council that don't want any child hurt. And so, again, it's better to make a step in the direction of protecting our children than to wait for another fatality.
And now, is there a way to get some more revenue, maybe, to tax some of these beverages?
Well, again, we don't want to take blood money. I think that the regulation presented for beverages is very rigorous. Is one that does protect. And then also, again, you see that the dispensaries, which go through rigorous testing, again, it's all safety guidelines to make sure that there's no accessibility for kids as well as those who could be harmed by.
All right, Alderman Hall, thanks very much. Good to see you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So that's it from here. One other note, that curfew that Rosanna told you about, they just debated that for a while. They decided not to vote on it right now. There were some last-minute changes, and some alders said, look, we need to digest this. We can't just vote on it right away. It does appear that Mayor Johnson would veto it, so they would need 34 votes here in City Council to pass it. So that's going to be delayed for another day. The hemp thing, we're told, is going to be voted on. We're told by several aldermen it does appear to have the votes to pass. So that means all those Delta 8, Delta 9 products at a gas station, convenience store, head shops, they're going to be gone. But those beverages will stick around. And that's the latest from City Hall. Back to you.
All right. Thanks for that, Paris. Let's find out what you can expect when you head out the door. Some people outside enjoying the bean today. Definitely, I noticed when I stepped outside, the sun was beaming down and it didn't feel anywhere near as cold, but we're getting ready for the really cold to come our way, aren't we, Caitlin?
Did you see that group of people taking their picture in front of the bean? I love to see it. Yeah. So fun. Yeah, today is the day. If you're going to be outside, taking the dog for a walk, getting some exercise, go outside today because temperatures are going to be dropping big time as we wrap up the week. As Sylvia was just mentioning, we keep talking about this headline of brutal cold temperatures. The worst of it's going to be Thursday night into early Friday, so keep that in the back of your mind. Right now, though, you're stepping out the door, 31 degrees at the lakefront, 28 at this lunchtime hour at O'Hare, as well as in Aurora. It's 23 at Woodstock, a little bit colder for you in McHenry County. Northwest Indiana temperatures for you are ranging in the 30s. It's 36 in Gary, 32 in Valpo. We have partly to mostly cloudy skies, and it's a little bit gusty out there. We have winds gusting to 26 miles per hour at O'Hare, 30 in Valpo, so 15 to almost 30 mile per hour wind gusts are possible right now. Wind chill, the feel like temperature because of that, down to 15 at O'Hare, 19 at Midway, 16 in Aurora, only 11 from McHenry County to DeKalb. Here's your futurecast because we have the chance for snow returning this evening. I want to show you when. Stop the timeline here at 5:30, starting to see that light snow moving in from the west-northwest. We are going to have that scattered potential for snow through until early overnight. Tomorrow we're going to start off dry and quiet. Temperatures in the afternoon pushing into the 20s. So it's going to be cooler tomorrow with some passing snow in the afternoon. And then the temperatures plummet Thursday night into Friday. So talking about that wind chill, that feel like temperature, let's show you what you can expect. This evening, 5 o'clock, feeling like we could be in the upper teens to about 20. Heading into tonight and early tomorrow, we're going to see these numbers drop down to below 0 to start off your day. So tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., 2 degrees below 0 is what it feels like at O'Hare, 0 at the lakefront. So for the kids at the bus stop, make sure they're prepared for this. It's going to be very cold tomorrow morning and especially on Friday morning. So Thursday afternoon, 4 o'clock, feeling like we could be around 10. And then we work our way into the evening, and that's when the temperatures drop low enough to give us this extreme cold watch in effect from Chicago Point south, including Willing, Kankakee County, LaSalle County, DeKalb, Kane, Kendall, Grundy County. This is where which all of us are going to be in that dangerous cold level. But we could see that wind chill drop to about 30 to 35 degrees below 0. So that's in effect from 3 a.m. until noon on Friday. This weekend, temperatures slowly increase back to the upper teens by Sunday with some scattered snow around Saturday afternoon into Sunday. Next week, starting off quiet, temperatures back to the 20s by Tuesday. Back to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Dozens of Chicago restaurants celebrating their nominations as semifinalists for the coveted James Beard Awards.
That's right. In fact, there are 23 local restaurants and individuals that made the list. Categories range from everything from outstanding hospitality to best new bar and chef. Among the semifinalists list are some familiar names, including Kasama, Galit, and Daisy's. That list will be cut down even shorter when the finalists are announced in March. The ceremony takes place at the Lyric Opera here in Chicago on June 15th. Chicago has been home to the James Beard Award since 2015, making it the first city outside of New York to host this prestigious event. The city has the contract at least until 2027. A few other Chicago restaurants are getting attention today as well. Yelp has just released its top 100 places to eat in the U.S., and 3 of them are here in Chicago. The restaurants featured on the list include Chichio Mio at number 65, Un Amor at 96, and Trivoli Tavern at 98. Yelp analyzes millions of reviews on its platform along with community nominations, and the rankings are based on reviews, submissions on everything from fine dining spots to food trucks. The number 1 spot was an L.A. restaurant called Whole Box. We'll be right back.
This is probably the 3rd personal injury ad.
Taking a live look at the New York Stock Exchange, the Dow Jones trading up 275 points.
And now it's time to look at your business headlines with CJ Papa.
Earnings season continues with results rolling in from drug and streaming giants. Johnson & Johnson reported a strong quarter, and Netflix too. It continued to add millions of new subscribers last year, but not at the pace as a year earlier. Markets hit the skids Tuesday. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ both wiping out their 2026 gains, and the worst market day since October 10th. Nathan's Famous, known for its July 4th hot dog eating contest and longtime presence in Brooklyn's Coney Island, has been sold to Smithfield Foods. The deal has a total enterprise value of $450 million. For more than a decade, Smithfield has held an exclusive license from Nathan's Famous. Smithfield's CEO says under the licensing agreement, it has invested in Nathan's to build and grow the brand. And the Wall Street Journal says hotels are taking out traditional bathroom doors. Some are using curtains, others sliding barn doors. And there are even strategically placed walls without a door at all, just a partition. Industry experts say mid-price hotels operating on thin margins, so you don't have to pay more. Business and group travel is still not back to usual levels after pandemic shutdowns. And at the same time, costs are higher. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox Chicago.
Well, our noon show will be wrapping up in 20 minutes. About just less than 20 minutes, but Chicago Live is just getting started.
Anita standing by with that. Hi, Anita.
Hi, those are some pretty interesting business headlines. All right, here's a bit of what we have lined up for you coming up between 1 and 4 p.m. today. In our 3 o'clock hour, businesses booming in Lake County. They had their biggest jump yet in 2025 when it comes to investments by businesses to the tune of over $600 million. So I'm going to be talking with the president and CEO of Lake County Partners about the upward trend there. In our 2 o'clock hour, I think everyone in our newsroom was intrigued by seeing the term house burping trending on our list of most typed topics today. Apparently, the practice is really popular in Germany, so I can't wait to talk to a doctor from Rush about whether this is actually helpful and what it actually means. I'll also be talking with Dr. Nita Lee, who will now be the program director of the new U Chicago Medicine Ralph Lauren Center on the South Side, dedicated to bridging gaps, specifically in cancer care. So all of that and more starting at 1 o'clock. I'll see everybody online for another day of Chicago Live.
All right, thanks so much, Anita. We'll be looking forward to it. From tasting to trending flavors.
I'm going to tell you what's on tap at this year's big, huge cider summit.
Who here?
Welcome back. It's 1246. The largest cider summit in the region returns to Chicago, and you can enjoy more than 100 ciders and spirits from all over the world. Joining us now is Brian Cider Rutson. He's here to tell us all about this big event. This is the 12th year. It just keeps growing, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it's, we're very glad to be back at Navy Pier 12 years in a row, and couldn't be happier. January 31st.
That's very good. Okay, and this is, you know, look at this. We're looking at some video from years past. It is packed. I have heard people talk about this. Like, this is a go-to event. People really look forward to it. So for those who would be going for the first time, tell me, what can they expect when they go?
They can expect several dozen cider producers from all over the country offering well over 100 ciders, and all different kinds. Some people think cider's too dry, some think it's too sweet. There's going to be ciders made in all different styles.
Okay.
And there's a way to engage with the producers. Many of them will be on hand. They can talk to the cider makers, talk to the farmers who grow the apples. So it's a really great chance to get up close and personal and talk about this great emerging beverage.
Okay, so let's talk about this because you know, when you hear cider, you think, oh, there's a tie-in to beer.
Right.
Think beer.
Yes.
Explain exactly what cider is.
So cider is wine made from apples, a lot of people like to say. It's very much experienced like beer in bars and restaurants. It's lower alcohol like beer, but the process of making cider is very much like making wine. You're crushing fruit, you're adding yeast, you're letting it ferment, and you're really presenting a wine-like beverage. So I've got some ciders today that have a little bit more of that wine character, bright acid, a balanced acidity, and then a little something special to end us off with.
Okay, so I think, you know, it's funny because I automatically, before I had tried it, used to think, oh, I don't really like beer, so I don't think I'm going to like cider.
That's right.
But that's not the case.
Not the case.
Yeah.
It has things in common with beer, like carbonation. Most wine isn't carbonated unless you're drinking champagne. Some of these are, all of these are carbonated except for our last one. This one's going to be very much like a bright European Eastern white wine, like really bright acid. It's tandem ciders called the Green Man. It features Rhode Island greening, ancient apple variety found on the East Coast. And again, bright acid, full apple flavor, and low alcohol. There's a lot of people doing dry January. We would call this dry cider January. Less sweet and lower alcohol.
I love it. And you know, this tastes to me almost like a sparkling wine. And thank you for reminding me. I forgot I'm doing dry January now.
Again, this is what people would drink in lieu of drinking back in the day. John Adams had a tankard of cider every morning for breakfast. So come on, this is good for you.
Okay, tell me about the next one. As you taste it.
Haken cider is this is Red Love. This is an apple variety that is red on the inside. You know, you open up an apple, it can be green skin, red skin, but it's usually white on the inside. This is red on the inside of the apple. So you cut it open, bright red, and the juice pours red, highly carbonated, and the smells are going to be not like apple, but raspberries, strawberries, watermelon, almost cotton candy aromas in there.
Very nice. Okay. Excuse me. Remind everybody, when's the event? Are tickets still available?
Tickets are still available. VIP tickets are moving fast. The session is from 2 to 6. The VIP session starts at 1. There is a pre-party that you can get separate tickets for. There's going to be cupcake pairing with Molly's Cupcakes. There's going to be several ciders paired with each different cupcake, and then maybe a little fun cocktail to toast everyone.
Sounds like fun. Thanks for coming in. I know it's going to be a huge hit. We appreciate it.
We're excited. Thanks for having us.
When I start again in February, I'm going to have to get it.
We'll hook you up.
Okay, let's head over to Jake. Jake, are you a cider kind of guy?
I am a big-time cider. I love how Sylvia often forgets, oh, I'm doing dry January as she takes a sip. Oh, no, dry January. How'd that go? All right, guys, coming up, there are two of the biggest stars on the planet. They only spoke with one station in town about their new hit movie. We're going to talk with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon all about their new thriller, The Rip, when Fox 32 News at noon returns.
My husband and I was in a ride share.
The new action thriller, The Rip, became an overnight hit for Netflix with more than 40 million viewers in its first weekend.
And only one station in Chicago had the chance to sit down with the iconic pair of stars, that is Jake Hamilton.
Right there,
How was it?
right there. This was so much fun. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, they've been friends since they were 8 years old, growing up in Boston. They rose to fame around the same time, especially after the success of a little film called Good Will Hunting, which each of them won Oscars for screenwriting. They've worked on 17 different films together, and their latest, The Rip, is already a massive success for Netflix. Over 40 million people watched the film over the weekend. But when I had the chance to sit down with Ben and Matt, we talked about those crazy kids from Boston who had dreams of being actors, even if they didn't think it would pan out. And as their characters in The Rip learn, sometimes it can be very difficult when money gets involved.
We had a Crime Stopper tip come in on this address. $1.4 million in this bucket. I bought 14 more of those things. That's a $20 million rip.
You know, it's crazy to think how much these two guys have accomplished over the course of their lives. So I was wondering if you could think about those guys and all the movies you've made in your career. Which of your movies would those two guys love the most? And which movie would those two guys go, yeah, that's not for me?
I'm kind of glad those two guys aren't still guiding our career.
You want to steal this rip? Just say it out loud.
I think those two guys would have been excited that we were making movies.
Yeah, right.
Like, period.
Well, that's the truth.
I mean,
so, like, we view this, we understood going into this, it's a really difficult proposition just to try to be an actor. You know, we didn't know anybody who was a professional actor. I realize in retrospect to the people around us, it must have seemed like an almost ridiculous, like, long shot. But our goal was to be able to just do that, to be able to make a living, to not be an actor slash, you know, tax preparer or something, where it felt like, well, I want to be an actor, but to actually be able to make a living.
Because I'd do fucking anything to have what you got. So would any of these guys. It'd be an insult to us if you're still here in 20 years. Hanging around here is a waste of your time.
And after the success of Good Will Hunting, where you guys had, I'd imagine, every imaginable role and movie thrown at you, how difficult was it at that point to not make decisions based on money?
in my case, it was really easy because the movies that were coming my way were so undeniably movies that I was just definitely going to do. You know, I mean, I went from right out of, like, as Good Will Hunting was coming out, I did Rounders, and then we did Dogma together with Kevin Smith, and then I went right into The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Right? Or was that,
Shaving Private Ryan was after we did Good Will, before it came out. But then you know, The Talented Mr. Ripley, Anthony Minghella called, and I mean, it was an amazing role and a beautiful film. You know, it was like, and the salary was secondary. It's
to your point. I think it is hard. I think it's hard for people. We all spend, you know, our lives thinking about, okay, well, I'm gonna try to go to school and get a good job, and your parents tell you, you gotta go out there and make a living, and what are you gonna do? And there's a lot of that focus because, you know, for us, I mean, that's the principal challenge of life. Like, we want to have a good life, we want to have purpose, but we have to pay the bills. So to all of a sudden get a chance to be an actor and also sort of have this kind of money dangle, it's a very hard thing to go like, well, that's more money than that feels like a lottery ticket. But I'm not sure.
Our moms made 30 grand a year, you know, and so we were very aware of money and raised with an awareness of money. And plus we've been, you know, living as unemployed actors together in LA. So we were very conscious of what the meaning of that was.
You think I want to jack this Rip?
I don't trust you right now, and that's a problem.
The Rip streaming now on Netflix. Good to see those guys back together.
Yes, the history.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
If this is your wreck, you need it.
Welcome back. Sylvia and I are soaking in the sunshine today and the warm temperatures.
While it lasts.
Compared to this weekend, Caitlin.
Temperatures dropping big time. I'm planning my summer vacations at this point. Campground here, lake there, because my goodness, winter has arrived again in Chicago. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast because temperatures today are actually quite mild compared to what's to come. We're going to be in the low 30s today with a chance for snow later on this evening. Scattered snow ends tonight. And then